Good evening, traders. This is Cousin Vinny coming to you on Sunday night, May 15th, with a look at the week ahead. The S&P had an interesting week where we sold down to the lower trend line and held this upward or ascending wedge. I do note that stochastics is moving lower, and there's a possibility that we could move down to the 50, which is just below this trend line right now. So I note that the NYSE has already broken this upward trend line, and we have moved through the 50 EMA. So I'll be watching the NYSE this week. Now with the Russell, we seem to be about in the same position as we are with regard to the S&P 500. We're down at this lower trend line, stochastics is turning over a bit, and we're sitting right on the 50 EMA. So I do note that the average true range has been beginning to move higher, so I'll be watching the Russell as well for signs of either a move higher back into this wedge or a move lower. Now the one index that's holding up, as I had mentioned last Sunday, is the Nasdaq. We're in this tight flag at the highs of last week. I'm looking for this to move higher and seasonally break higher into the summer. Technology of all of the areas look the best to me into next week. Okay, so I'll be looking at a list of stocks that I have on my list. Of stocks I have on my list. Nice. Look at the SOX or the SMH. SOX more than the SMH. The SOX is a more well-rounded list of technology stocks. I'll be looking at Texas Instruments, MXIM, Cypress, ALTR, and SOLR, thanks to Steve in place over at StockTwits. That's his list. I also have a list that I like, which is OVTI, okay, which is a technology stock that's looking good. Noticing that we had an inverted head and shoulders here, we moved higher, we came back down to the 100 EMA and the 50 EMA and moving higher into this. If you disregard this upper breakout line, we have a trend line here we're pushing up against that looks like we could move higher. Stochastics is still pointing a little bit higher as well. That's OmniVision Technology. NVIDIA did have some interesting earnings news. They did beat, I believe, but they did sell off. So coming back down to the 200 EMA, the red line, I may decide to get back into this. The only caveat would be if this came back for some reason and tested this trend line, which I doubt. It's pretty far down. I don't see NVIDIA getting that far down, but stochastics is moving lower. Okay. Ericsson came up in a scan by IBD of stocks that were delivering triple-digit percentage gains. They ran a screen for highly rated stocks that showed triple-digit percentage EPS gains in the most recent quarter and at least 100% gain in the current quarter. So the stocks that had to be in the top third of their industry groups, not trading thin and within 50% of a high. The 13 stocks were Green Mountain Roasters, Robinson Myers, IPG Photonics, Liberty Media, Global Specialty Metals, Carpenter Technologies, Patterson UTI Energy, Baker Hughes, OmniVision Technologies, which I mentioned, Titan International, Ericsson, which we're looking at here, Goodyear Tire, which is one that you know I've been trading over the last few months, and Graphic Packaging, which is a cheap $5 stock that is looking pretty good as well. It's up in this upper range, although it's a broadening pattern here. So I'll be watching for this to move a little bit higher. But back to Ericsson, I really like the fact that it's flagging just like the Nasdaq up at this high. Okay, so I'll be looking for this to trade as a breakout above this level in this flag. Okay, stochastics is overbought, but we could continue to move higher. This is one of those stocks that I mentioned that IBD had a scan on. Earnings per share above 100% is actually very, very good. Goodyear Tire, we're showing a similar pattern where we're up at this, trading at the highs last week. You remember what the indexes looked like, the S&P. We were trading down, but we didn't trade down as bad with GT. So there's a little bit of relative strength here, and it's one of those stocks that has above 100% earnings per share growth in a recent quarter, which is very, very good and something you want to keep an eye on. Okay, I'll just be watching this oversold or overbought stochastics for a possible trade in the near future. Copper, as you know, is a leading indicator for global growth, and we have been pretty weak as of late, as has been a lot of the other commodities. Okay, so keep an eye on the commodity sectors and the dollar indexes, the euro. We did have a little bit of a bounce. It's getting really choppy in here. I'm not trading SLB because I am long the UUP options from off of this lower trend line. Okay, and I added, let's see, it's Friday, Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday, Monday, Friday. Last Friday I added again, so we're looking good. Thursday and Friday is where I was at, not the lower trend line, sorry. But we're looking pretty good here, and I'm looking for this to continue higher into the summer, as metals and commodities usually are weak during the summer. Doesn't mean it'll happen this time, but I am following those, as well as bonds, which tend to trade higher during the summer months. Okay, so keep an eye on TLT. I might be taking a trade on this. I'm already in pretty heavy with regard to bonds via the PIMCO funds and Vanguard funds in my 401k. Seasonally, these funds do a lot better during the summer months when traders get out of equities and they put money into bonds, which is a safe haven and an area where they don't have to worry about the risk as much. So I'm looking for this to trade back up to the highs. Okay, at least up into this level here. The 100 range, 100 to 105, 106. Okay, so keep an eye on the 20-year Treasury bond. Remember, I mentioned also that the DBV is a reflection of the carry trade. Moves higher on this index, or this basket of currencies, tends to be bullish for equities, where we turned over at the 20 EMA and are coming back down to the 100 EMA. So keep an eye on DBV as well. Now, SMH, as I mentioned before, you can go over to Stephen Place's site over at StockTwits, and you can see what he's looking at as well. But he's a very respected trader, and I follow him as well. So he's looking at the SMH, which I would agree with. It's looking really good. During last week's sell-off, we held pretty decently at these highs. Okay, so let's take a look at Texan. This stock held really nice last week as well. We've been basing out in this Bollinger Band range where we're constricting, and we're going to either move up or move lower. So I'm just watching the stochastics here. That's MXIM. It's another stock on his list, which I like. This is trading at 52-week highs. Okay, I'm looking for this to move higher, continue holding the 10 EMA on the daily. I do note that the stochastics is overbought, so I'll be watching that for an entry. Cypress Semiconductor, this is one that Warbucks likes to follow. We have a bit higher to move before we get back up to the highs, so I could see 2386 very easily on this particular position. So that's Cypress. ALTR, another stock on the list, one that I follow, that I found in IBD when accumulation back in December last year was set at C, and it's continually moving higher. Notice the flag is moving higher off the 10 EMA. Bollinger Bands are starting to contract, and stochastics are a little bit overbought, moving lower. But this could turn into a negative divergence where stochastics moves lower and price stays up here at the top, okay, above at this higher price range. SOLR, Solar International, is looking really good as well. This is one over from Stephen Place. And you can see the range that it's been in. The high is at $11.60 and the low is at $9.17 off the 200 EMA. Despite the sell-off we had last week, notice the relative strength, we moved higher. So this is one that I more than likely will take a trade in on a breakout higher here above 1170 as my trigger. Okay, so that's SOLR. Now, if you haven't taken a 2-week trial with Day Trading Radio, you can come and visit us there and take the trial and meet with traders like myself in the room, learn how to trade better, get some good education. You can hang out in the chat room and meet with many of the other traders as well. So it's a 2-week trial subscription. You don't have to, it doesn't obligate you to anything, but I do believe you'll make money and you'll become a better educated trader. Okay. You can also check out Johnny's YouTube videos, which teaches you a good bit of how he trades, and my videos as well, which pretty much follow the similar psychology that Johnny uses in trading. Okay, this is Cousin Vinny coming to you from Day Trading Radio. Remember to take profits, and we'll see you in the room on Monday. Take care.